welcome. This is going to be our first episode of this podcast. By no means we're trying to be therapists or anything like that. We're just three guys that work here at the fire department here in West Texas. We all have experiences to share, and I think guys that are also in the fire services have the same. We just want others to know if you're barely starting the job or been on there for a while, it's all right to feel the way you're feeling, that you're not the only one.
Yeah, man. With that being said, uh, I'm Nick. This is Mark, Victor. Um, I have 10 years. Victor has 10 years. You have about 7 or 8 years. So we've been on for a bit. But thanks for clicking us, watching us. But y'all are about to witness the first episode of the Burnt
The
Out
burnt out
Recruiter.
recruiter.
So, man, let's jump right into it. Let's get going. February 19th, 4:30 a.m. Tones out for a structure fire. Let you handle it from there, man.
All right, so I'm at Station 4, and we get toned out to the structure fire 4:30 in the morning. For those who aren't aware, that we work a 48-hour shift. So during those 48 hours, at any of that time, we can get called out to whatever. In this case, would be a structure fire. So we get up and we start making way towards the scene to the structure fire. Um, so driving there, adrenaline's already going, and once we're getting closer in there, we're starting to see smoke, so adrenaline's getting higher. And once we get close enough, we're seeing flames coming out of this double wide mobile home. For those who aren't aware, those mobile homes sit a little higher. They have a little staircase going up. Manufactured homes, and they burn super super quick. So and very very hot. So I mean, even making a good response time, no matter what, we're always behind the ball on these mobile homes. So getting closer, we were noticing the flames already. My partner, that I was with on the ambulance, were already thinking this is going to be a very long night. So we get on scene and we park, and that's where we see this double wide mobile home on fire.
We hear they're on scene of a double wide mobile home, and they start working off defensive. We go defensive, right? That's initial IR defensive, and then um, we hear there's a baby inside. Um, Defensive strategy means pretty much we're not going in there. We're not sending anyone in. It's the fire conditions too bad for us to go inside. Um, then we hear baby.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so defensive, like you said, just too dangerous to go in, even with all the protective gear we have. I mean, it's just too risky to go in there. And responding to this, we didn't know that anyone was entrapped in this house or anything. I think neighbor called. Um, so we get on scene, and I'm driving the ambulance. And here in West Texas, we are dual certified, so we do paramedic and firefighting. So we have turnout gears on this ambulance. When we get on scene, we park and we hear defensive fire, but at this time, this bystander's coming to the ambulance and he's just banging on the window and real stressed out, which you would expect to see from anyone's house that is on fire. When we open the door, I mean, it just completely flipped the script on this one. He was saying that there was a baby still inside, approximately 2 to 3 month year old girl in there still. And I just remember, I mean, just at that moment, you have no idea what's going to happen. And I think, like how any other fireman would have thought in their mind, is that I'm going to risk a lot to save a lot at this moment. So at that time, I get on the radio and I let everyone that's coming to this fire, the dispatch, know that there is still a baby inside of this house. And at that moment, man, my adrenaline kicked in. Um, I mean, all the years of training that we've done and everything, I think just kind of clicked and just went into effect. And for this part, I'm not even really, sure on absolute details, but I just know I got fastly dressed, and I mean, faster than I probably ever have and probably ever will. But I get all my gear on, which we have our bunker bottoms, our coat, our radio, we have our SCBA, we have a hood we put on and a helmet. We have gloves, so we're getting all this ready as fast as we can. And as soon as we're ready, I mean, I'm making my way towards the structure. I mean, getting close to it, it's window. The windows have fire coming out of it. There's fire coming out of the attic. The smoke is so dense that it is filling this whole street up with smoke. And I mean, conditions to see were already at a low.
So we were at us two. We were at station two. So we're a little bit further than y'all. So we're the third unit on scene, I guess you'd say.
Mm-hmm.
But we're the third engine on scene. When we turned down the block, you could not see anything. The wind was blowing towards us, so all the smoke was coming towards us. So uh, we just pulled all the way through,
Mm-hmm.
and we put our gear on, and literally by the time, I mean, I mean, we couldn't see anything when we stepped outside.
I mean, even with it being that bad, y'all being the third unit on scene, y'all heard that there's a baby in there, and y'all
Yeah,
are already getting ready to go.
We were ready to go by
Yeah,
the time we got there.
yeah, and like how I was saying, I think every fireman we take that
we're ready
vow.
for that. That's what we want.
Yeah.
Or that not.
That's
That's not
what
what
we're
we
ready.
want, but
Yeah,
we
that's
in,
what we
in a
get
fire
ready
service.
for.
That's, I mean, everyone wants to grab, everyone wants to do, everyone wants to do that. I mean, that's what
Mhm.
we signed up for, is to save a life, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I guess this time, was gonna be mine, and I just, not that I didn't feel ready for it, but I guess just everything that I felt wasn't what I was expecting at all.
So tell me, man. You put your gear on, you walk up to the house. Give me the play by play from the house to from the house.
Yeah, so I get to the front of this house, and I remember just that defensive word was going through my head a little bit, and just for a little bit because it went straight out.
Yeah.
But I am looking at this house, and I don't even at this time I don't even realize of how bad this house is up. I just know that this baby's in there, and that if it waits any longer and seconds literally are counting down, that it might take for it not to have survived. And so I remember just storming up these steps, and there's like four steps going up to this mobile home. There's an elderly man on there yelling, "My baby, my baby." I just remember grabbing his arm, moving him out of the way. And I remember as soon as I make my way into this house, I mean, it just feels like dead quiet. There's so much going on. You have other units coming in with their sirens blaring. You have radio traffic just blowing up. And I remember as soon as I get in there, it's just dead quiet. Except the only thing I could hear was my heartbeat, man. It was just like, with the SCBA mask right here, I felt like it just kind of gives you that little point of view, and through that point of view, I'm just hearing da-doom, da-doom, da-doom. And
Video
I'm
game.
just video game
Yeah.
and movie. And I remember just knowing I am literally fighting the clock right now. Death is counting down and he's getting close, and I just know I at this moment need to get in there and do my job. So I'm getting in there. I get my tick off my SCBA, and I'm gonna try to use it to try to find this 3 month old baby. And I remember just like looking around, and I guess I got ready so fast, my SCBA didn't even finish booting up the tick camera yet. So I remember just throwing it down, and I was just going off of instinct at this point, man. I mean, instinct and hope. And I remember going through, just feeling everywhere I could. And I'm in this house I've never been in before. I do not know the layout. I don't know where these people keep their babies at, and I'm just feeling around, and all these thoughts are hitting my head. I feel like I'm in there forever, and then all of a sudden it's just like everything stops and pauses, and my hand is on a crib. And I remember just grabbing that crib. I still can't see anything. Grabbing the other side and getting as close as I can. And before I knew it, I'm face to face with this 3 month old baby. And for a little bit, I thought it was a doll, man. I thought she just looked fake. As weird as it sounds, she looked peaceful.
Yeah.
And I just remember seeing the soot around her nose, and that's already a bad sign. Because I mean, this smoke again was top to bottom, and I just remember getting the blanket that she had, throwing it over her face, grabbing her, and just turning around and hoping I am facing the way I came in.
Yeah.
So I remember just going for the door, and thankfully, man, I before I knew it, I was outside, and my partner at the time, because I had a real hard time remembering all the details. Even a week later, I'm having a hard time remembering exactly what was done. But I remember my partner just said that I just looked possessed, man. My helmet was off. I don't understand or remember how it fell off. He said steam was just coming off of my Nomex head, and he said he looked like I was just like taking over. The only thing I remember distinctly from this fire was coming out, stepping off from that last step, and going towards the heading towards the ambulance because I'm not trying to waste any time. And I mean, at this time, I literally felt like my feet weren't even touching the ground. I felt like I was floating towards this ambulance, man. I felt like the floor from under me was being pulled, and I was going straight towards this ambulance, man.
Yeah. So we end up going to. I mean, we end up heading, walking towards the scene, and when we got there, you jumped on the ambulance with Mark, right?
Yeah, we ran to the ambulance. Me and Nick. Nick got pulled in to the fire to help out there. I continued. I kind of leave Mark. We used to work together on the box when he used to rope out, so we knew kind of how we worked together. And yeah, Mark has a blank face throughout the whole transport, but he was doing patient care too, but it's just instincts pretty much.
Yeah. So during transport, I heard y'all heard baby cry.
Yeah,
What was the
man.
feeling with that?
Well, I mean, like how Victor was saying, I had that blank stare on my face. I mean, I don't even think till today it's hit me what happened, but just sitting there, just high on this adrenaline, still feeling that floating kind of sensation. But I mean, my body was still providing patient care, and I remember we're doing everything we can, going. I mean, we're flying to the hospital at this
Yeah, I
point
bet.
to get this baby there, and we're doing all these things, trying to get IVs, and before we knew it, I felt like time stopped. I feel like the ambulance stopped moving, and we just heard the sweetest cry, man. Like we heard this baby cry, and usually that you hear baby cry and you're like, oh, like what's wrong? And
Yeah.
this time that just like indicates to us that there's an airway still.
But we all looked at each other like, "What's that noise?" And
Yeah.
they're like, "Oh, the
Very
baby's
expecting
crying."
it.
Yeah, such a foreign noise. Even though we had a baby with us, it was still such a bizarre or wonderful thing to hear. And man, when we heard it, I think all of us were so tense working, and we heard that baby cry. We're just
Kind of relaxed.
like
Felt,
we're all like, thank
dude.
God.
I don't even know how. I ended up going in after with Jesse or with the guys from my crew and the other crew, but dude, there's no there's no fucking way. Like I don't believe how you found this baby. The heat that was in that. Well, I mean, we went in. I would say a minute after you, 30 seconds. The heat pushed us immediately to the ground. We're in there probably a minute. You couldn't see in front of you. Stuff was falling. We immediately got pushed, or battalion chief command ended up telling us, "Hey, y'all need to back out." Once again, we're going defensive. So we end up backing out. There's just the smoke, and like I don't know. I honestly don't know how you do it. How you did it. If you do not, I would say, if you do not believe in God or you're not religious, he was working, bro. He was working. Like I don't know how he did it, but he was working. Because it was just insane that you found the baby. Um, after y'all transport, we're still on scene working or putting out fire. You come back to the scene. I see you. At that time, I didn't know who grabbed the baby. I just know you weren't there because normally when we get calls together, you're the first person to look for. I mean, it's just like all of us.
Yeah.
We're trying to play around or something, you know. But you weren't there, so I knew you were on the box. Then once I saw you, I didn't even know, but I just got a little emotional for no. I don't even know what. Like I did it because I didn't know. So I ended up trying to play it off and like give you some punches to the stomach to try to calm myself down, so I wasn't crying in front of you. Then we looked at each other and we like made eye contact, and the look that you gave me, like I've never had a bro moment like that, but it was definitely a bro moment. I told you, hey man, let's come over here, and you just looked at me and like I saw like tears coming from your eyes, and I was just like, I started tearing up, and I was like, what is wrong with me? Like, and I started telling you bro, like you did your job, like that's what like you did something that everyone works for, like that's what you did, and I still don't think you know what you did. Um, but it's crazy, dude. I mean, I tell people all the time. I was like, I'm over here like that's my boy. Like I know the guy that did that. It was wild, dude. How are you feeling after? What is the after feeling? What we talk here today, and like what is the feeling after?
Well, I mean, just like today talking about it, I mean, still a very surreal moment that went on. It's like a event that went on. Usually with our job being like in fire and EMS, we get called to someone's worst day, whether that be a vehicle accident, a medical emergency, um, and usually those things end bad. As sad as it is to say, even with everything we do, and I don't know if we just kind of get used to that. But even after this call and hearing the baby cry and knowing that the baby is doing good today, laughing and I still don't know how to explain what I'm feeling, man. I don't know. Um, usually after fires, your adrenaline wears off like one of the next hour or so, and you're like, man, that was crazy. It's been a week, and I have friends and family hitting me up saying like good job or congratulations, and it just feels like very strange, man. Like, and I guess like how I said, I don't want to take like credit, say like that was me or anything, because I know like any one of us sitting right here at that moment's call would have answered it. I
Yeah,
know any fireman, we take that vow, would have answered that call because it's what we do, it's our job. But I mean, even sitting here today talking about it, man, it's just very surreal feelings to have. I still don't believe it happened, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But I mean, a lot of those details are such a blur to me. And my partner that was able to witness me, that go in and come out and said I looked like totally different. And even at the station, he's coming up to me asking me like, dude, like, how did you do it?
yeah.
And I'm like, dude, I don't even
That was
know.
my question. How did you
Like,
do it? Like, what was like? I didn't know how. Once I went in there and I saw the conditions, I was like, how?
No.
There ain't no way.
Even pulling up, the smoke was coming out the door.
Yeah, there is no way.
Yeah.
So you dropped your helmet. We were still on scene. I know y'all got back in service and made some EMS calls, but we stayed on scene, trying to put this fire out, and we spent a good hour and a half going through the house trying to find this helmet. We find it. This is what's left of it, or I mean, it's still tacked, but your shield's melted. Um, your helmet went through the whole fire. It stayed in the fire the whole time. It was right in the middle. Um, but yeah, dude, it's crazy. In the after action, we had an after action. One of the chiefs told us, them, us, me. And it's kind of like stick with me a little bit, like them as the civilians, us as a whole, like as a department, and then me, like yourself. Dude, the selfless act that you made was like unreal. Like it was like, um, we knew what we signed up for. We know um, what we have to do, but it's different of knowing what you have to do and doing it. It's crazy, dude. I'm happy to say you're my friend, dude.
Yeah.
Like that's just wild, dog. But with that being said, this is gonna be the end to our first podcast, and I hope many more. I hope y'all join. We're gonna get some socials going so y'all can like and subscribe. We'll see you on the next one. We'll see how this goes.
yeah.